And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. We broadcast live between now and 5 and record the whole time. So if you have a radio that you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. We will be recording. And also, if you need assistance in your audio tune-up, that's another feature that we offer on the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog. So, good evening or good afternoon, mostly, and we're going to check now and see if Charlie-K1GZL is on the frequency. Charlie, you out there?
Yeah, you're 9 plus 15, correct. This week I got tied up with stuff out in the backyard and I forgot all about the schedule. So, I'm copying you fine. No problem whatsoever. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, one of my SDRs is down. The good folks at the Rochester SDR had given me a couple of passwords to be able to extend the time on their SDR, but apparently they can't get there from here and realize their own password effectiveness, because I keep putting the password in and it keeps rejecting it. So we probably won't have the Rochester SDR on the frequency this afternoon. It says, sorry, this SDR can only be used for 30 minutes every 24 hours by each IP address. If you have an exemption password from this SDR owner, administrator, please enter it here. And I've entered it 5 times and it's rejected it. So, so much for the Rochester SDR. Roger, Charlie?
Charlie? Yeah, what about the Milford, Pennsylvania, and also Virginia, near Washington, go ahead.
Roger, I'm copying you now on the Milford PA SDR, and I did copy you a little bit earlier on the Alexandria SDR, but you're much better on the Milford right at the moment. Roger?
Roger. Okay, I mean to skip this short, but boy, it wasn't this morning. KC9VKV, K1GZL. Yeah, you're up to 15 over 9, correct. Southern Indiana, because I cannot tune in SDR. I don't have a computer here at all. But it sounds good. This morning, I was working VK3MO, and he was speaking 30 over 9, and Mike, who's in there quite often down near Pittsburgh, he was completely skipping over. I could tell his voice was there, but I couldn't read him. So we had no sporadic E this morning, no sporadic E. However, this afternoon, skip has shortened up considerably. But you sound great. You sound great in here, Tim. And I expect that you will probably copy correct. KC9VKV, K1.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I haven't been able to copy direct so far. I don't know. You know, the skip gods sometimes are very mysterious in their abilities to spread around that skip, signal. So, but I keep checking it every once in a while. But I am of interest, Charlie. I am working on a magnetic loop antenna with. I'm using 1 1/4 heliax for the loop, or it actually loops. It's going to be, as I see it now, 2 8-foot loops tied together. Roger.
Roger. Yeah. Interesting. One operation.
Sorry, Charlie, I was looking for a better signal. I missed you there. I've got to reposition my Rochester SDR to another SDR. I think that's the best way to do that, and just forget Rochester for the afternoon. Something around, let's see here, something in our area. Maybe a Washington. Well, I've already got our I've got Alexandria, Virginia, so that would be West Palm Beach pretty much. Let's see. I'll have to think about that. Go ahead, Charlie.
Okay, I don't think I'd be getting into West Palm Beach this time very, very well. But it'd be interesting to see how you sound on the magnetic loop direct from your location. But you're great, Doc. Boy, you are really your direction. Here it is.
Roger, Charlie. Well, we're just located in a very central location around Louisville, so we can shoot north or south fairly well, and just cover the East Coast predominantly. Sometimes we go a little west, but it's seldom that we get much traffic out of the west. Mainly, it's out of the East Coast. Roger, Roger.
What was that last one, Jim? Go ahead.
I was just saying mainly our radiation signal is usually on the East Coast. Occasionally we do go west, but normally it is on the East Coast. Roger?
Roger. Okay, well, right now, 20 over 9 direct, and if you don't catch me direct, that's really strange condition.
Roger, catching a little QRM from an adjacent frequency on the low end. Can you imagine that? I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it's a low frequency garbage coming off an adjacent frequency. Very strange, Roger.
Okay, I can tell it's something on the side. Way over. This quad is aimed pretty well in your direction, Jim. Dead center on.
I was just thinking, we do have two Rochester, New York SDRs. There are two SDRs in that city, so I'm going to try that number 2 and see if I can get into that. We'll just see. Give me a little transmission, Charlie. Let me try that Rochester number 2.
That's Rochester number 2.
Okay, Roger. I'm not sure how short the skip is, though. That's the question mark. K1GZL returning to KC9VKV. But right now, direct, you're 20 over 9. 20 over 9 direct, Jim. Really, and the noise level's about an S6, so you're all by yourself. Direct. Go ahead.
Roger. And Charlie, that number 2 Rochester SDR is, gosh, you're 15 over on that SDR. So who needs the number 1 Rochester SDR? We got number 2, and it's just running wild, Roger.
Okay, Roger on that. I would imagine Milford should be good. Should be from your station direct. The quality coming from your station direct without SDR is better. Your audio, I think, is more natural coming directly from your station straight through without SDR, at least on receiving. Jim, go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. Well, gosh, I'm glad that we're making the trip, and I'm glad that you're making the trip. I'm going to start a new segment called Great Radio Stories. This is going to have to do with radio stories all about maybe amateur radio stories or war radio stories or, commercial radio stories, just great radio stories in general, just kind of trying to broaden out the aspects of our Qso-Vlog network. Roger?
Aspects of our Qso-Vlog network, Roger.
Okay, well, interesting. I think I've pretty well run out of material that I had passed on to you previously, unless we revisit some of those. But your signal is great in here, right from southern Indiana. Boy, you really are good. Here it is.
Rochester, New York SDRs. There are 2 SDRs in that city, so I'm going to try that number 2.
Okay, Jim, that's how you sound here. Great copy. Okay, so I won't hold it up there. I hear people calling you in the background there a little bit there, so it was good working you this afternoon. I don't know if you're going to use this on the on the playback, but we'll see. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, you know, the way it is, we record for an hour and a half, no edits. Normally, unless somebody comes in and shoots the place up, we record for an hour and a half with no edits, and we do upload that one first. Within a couple of days of this date, we do upload the long one, and then as time permits, we go back and edit the individual ones out as time permits. So we have the long one to begin with, and then we edit the segments out and upload those separately. So, and last week, we were recovering from 3. Let's see how to put this. We had 3 failures of Qso-Vlog recording. 3 failures, 3 weeks in a row. I mean, actually 2 weeks in a row, and then we had a pop-up that was going to, be the test, and we wound up with great amounts of RF and the AF on that one. So we actually had 3 failures right in a row after having 3 years of no problems. So now, last week, we did have a great program network, and we had 1 hour and a half long recording that made it beautifully, and then we had 14 segments that we lifted out of that. So in all, it was a great Qso-Vlog last week, and hopefully I'm looking right now and I'm seeing the capture emblem on the screen, which indicates that we are recording well on this week's Qso-Vlog video recording. Roger?
Qso-Vlog video recording, Roger.
Okay, well, right now, direct. You are great copy. You're full quieting, excellent audio, well-rounded, and it's good. And okay, I'm wanting to get amateur radio stories about anything back, including during the time of war. Okay, look, Jim, I'll sign, and I'll catch you hopefully next week. And boys, by the way, with the highest temperature we've had this summer up here in northern New Hampshire at 2,007 feet. One day it did hit 87, and today it's just about 70, as it was yesterday. Yesterday morning we had an undercast of fog down below us, with a nearly full moon just over the mountains at about just before 6 o'clock in the morning. That was quite a sight, Jim. A pleasure as always, and I'll try to catch you next week. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Okay, 3Z sir, and you'll be interested to know that your last signal on Raleigh SDR number 2, you were 12 over their noise level. You were 12 dB over the Raleigh number 2 SDR noise level. So good signal. So you have a real good afternoon, Charlie. Thanks for dropping by, and we'll see you hopefully next week. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, and this is the Qso-Vlog page, network, whatever. If you have a radio, you want to check out the audio. We are recording now live till 5, and also if you need a radio with a little modulation assistance setup, we do that also. This is KC9VKV listening.